In order to diversify my Titan and give my Titan more range while clearing ads, I've been swapping from SYNTHOCEPs to Ashen in order to clear ads from a longer distance and play it safe. Especially when hopping to Master Nightfalls and not being able to just bonk enemies, I needed a build that gave me the comfort of clearing ads with the same amount of damage as SYNTHOCEPs but from a distance. This build gives me exactly what I was looking for, able to kill enemies with one grenade. This grenade is going to deal anywhere from 40,000 to 80,000 damage because we're going to be combining that with the solar aspect, roaring flame. So when we stack up to 3 times, they're able to deal a massive amount of damage to any enemy in the game, or one shot many red bars and yellow bars in the game by just combining roaring flames. We're able to spam our abilities pretty consistently, and once we do spam those abilities, we're going to be gaining a lot of health regen. This build keeps you alive consistently. You shouldn't be dying with this build, and it gives you the capability to deal the same amount of damage as Bonk Titan, but from a distance, and you will have your hammer if you just need to quickly slay out enemies and use the solar aspect. So Invictus to spawn sunspots and gain restoration. Let me take you guys on a tour of the build I've been using by combining Ashen Wake. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, comment, and subscribe so you guys can stay updated with the builds I am currently dropping. Let's jump straight into it. So for this build set up right, you want to be using Ashen Wake exotic. Ashen Wake did get a low-key buff to the exotic itself with the exotic perk called Bring the Heat. Fusion grenades now explode on impact and gain increased throw speed. Final blow on fusion grenades grant grenade energy. So at any given point, once you kill 2 to 3 enemies with your grenade, it's going to be fully refunded to you. Once you combine this with the solar aspect, Soul Invictus, and Roaring Flames, that grenade is going to spawn a sunspot, and I'm going to show you guys exactly how to spawn fire sprite exactly once you kill those targets. By combining those 3 things, anytime you do a kill an enemy and step inside of the sunspot and pick up a fire sprite, you will gain restoration and you're going to gain an armor charge. The way you will be gaining restoration is from Soul Invictus, and we're going to be spawning a fire sprite by using the Solar Fragment Ember of Searing. So anytime we defeat scorched targets, it's going to grant us melee energy and it's going to create a fire sprite. Now it doesn't matter if you just completely annihilate that enemy off the first hit of Ashen Wake, you will still spawn a fire sprite, and that fire sprite will count as an armor charge. That's going to go into our mod system, and with our mod system we want to just be able to consistently spam our grenade. The next fragment we do have will be Ember of Torches, so we're able to become radiant, and once we are radiant, that means any weapon we do have will be currently able to stun any barrier champion. So now we have the capability to stun barrier champions by ourselves. We don't need to rely on our teammates or exotics to stun barrier champions. We just need to hit an enemy with our Bonk Titan with the Bonk Hammer. The next thing we do have is Ember of Ashen, so we're applying more score stacks to target, and we're able to stun unshoppable champions more frequently, and that just applies more score stacks to targets when we're using our bonk or even when we're just using our grenade. So those enemies can just ignite on impact. The next thing we do have on this build, which is going to tie into our restoration, will be Ember of Resolve. So anytime we do get a final blow with our Ashen Wake, our fusion grenades, we will be gaining health back. That's another way we will be gaining health and keep the restoration in this build. The aspects we do have will be Roaring Flames. So anytime we get a kill with our solar ability, that means our fusion grenade or a hammer or even our super, we're going to increase the damage of everything else, and this stacks up to 3 times. The next thing we do have, and the way we're continuing gaining health on this build, would be Soul Invictus. That's the second solar aspect we do have, and that means that anytime we do get a final blow as well, we will be spawning sunspots. So to break it down for you guys, once you do get a kill with your fusion grenade, that will spawn a sunspot, and because you did scorch the target, it doesn't look like it, but you did scorch the target, you will also spawn a fire sprite. Once you pick up that fire sprite or you step inside of that sunspot, you will be granted a restoration, and you will be granted a stack of armor charge as well. Because of the seasonal artifact mod you should have unlocked called Solar Surge. Solar Surge will grant you armor charge anytime you do pick up a fire sprite, and you will be spawning Orb of Power because we will combine this with firepower on our gauntlets. So anytime we do get a final blow, we're going to spawn an Orb of Power, and we will be combining that with stacks on stacks. I'm going to dive into it in a second, but that means that anytime you get 1 kill with your Ashen Wake, you're going to spawn an Orb of Power. Once you step inside of that sunspot, do not forget to step inside of your sunspot to pick up that fire sprite. You're going to be granted a restoration, 1 armor charge, and then if you combine that with stacks on stacks, you're going to be granted 2 armor charge stacks, and you should be spawning an Orb of Power if you defeat multiple enemies. So that means you will cap out at 3 armor charge stacks. You're going to see in the gameplay in the back that anytime I do kill multiple enemies and I spawn 1 Orb of Power combined with the fire sprite, I'm able to gain 3 stacks of armor charge immediately. We will be combining this also with Grenade Kickstart. I'm just naming out the mods, I'll dive into it in a second. Grenade Kickstarter means that anytime we do throw our Ashen Wake grenade, our future grenade, we will be gaining energy back on that grenade. And that's just to top it off if our Ashen Wake didn't fully refund our grenade. That's the loot. We want to kill an enemy with our grenades, step inside of the sunspot to pick up the fire sprite and orb of power. We're going to be gaining restoration from that, and once we do have that, we also will be gaining armor charge stacks. It's a lot of moving parts, but as soon as you set up your subclass right with those fragments and those aspects, you will be doing exactly what I'm doing in the build. Now to dive into the mod setup, we do have ashes to ash sets on our helmet, so we're going to gain super energy back on our grenade kills, and we are spamming our grenade. And the next thing we do have is just heavy ammo finder and heavy ammo scout, so we can help our teammates out and spawn more heavy ammo for them. On our gauntlets, we have firepower combined with grenade kickstarter, so anytime we do get a kill with our grenade, we will be spawning an orb of power, as well as expending any single armor charge stacks we do currently have on us. On our chest piece, it's just damage resist mods. Depending on the contract you're running, you want to switch up your damage resist mods, so you're able to just tank a lot of damage. On our feet, we do have stacks on stacks, so picking up one orb of power counts as 2 orbs of power. So anytime we get a kill with our grenade and spawn an orb of power, that will also spawn a sunspot. So we're going to slide inside of our sunspot and pick up orb of power and fire sprite, and that will cap us out at 3 armor charges anytime we get kills. The last thing we do have on our class item is Reaper. So when we pop our class ability, our barricade, the next weapon final blow will spawn an orb of power. We combine that with double bomber, so anytime we use our class ability, we will gain grenade energy back. That is how we're continuously able to slay out and deal just as much as SYNTHOCEPs, but we have this ability to play from range, and we don't need to be continually in the enemy's face to deal huge amounts of damage. This is the build I'm currently running in the Legendary Battlegrounds and Legendary Lost Sectors, switching it up from the SYNTHOCEPs build and giving me the same ad clear capability. If you guys are struggling to clear ads, then definitely pick up this build and use it. Test it out, see if you guys like it. I hope you guys do enjoy it. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.